And speaking of history, there's a little history going on here at the track. The old 24 crew back together again. Rutledge Wood has the story coming up. On Sunday, regardless of who wins the race, history will be made. You only have one more chance to see Jeff Gordon race. His final ride happens here Sunday at 1:30 Eastern on NBC. There's so many special things happening at this track. And Rutledge, I understand you got to witness one a few moments ago.
I sure did, Krista. A really special thing happened. The 24 team decided to get a picture with everybody that they could, past and present, that's been a part of Jeff Gordon's great racing, since obviously this is going to be his last weekend racing here. We're talking everybody from Booty Barker, Chad Knaus, Alan Gustafson. There's so many guys down here in this garage that have been a part of his amazing legacy. And keep in mind, this is just a portion of it. I mean, guys like our own Steve Letarte, who's getting ready for qualifying, couldn't be there. Tons of other guys on other teams who couldn't get over there. And then think about all of the Rainbow Warriors over the years who are doing completely different jobs now all across this U.S. that meant something to Jeff Gordon. And then when they finished the picture, he turned back to him and he said, guys, thank you for all the hard work, all the sweat over the years. This is amazing. A really cool thing just took place here in the garage. And I know Steve wished he could have been up there too, but he's going to be with us in qualifying just a few minutes, Krista. Really cool thing to see.
That is neat. Like you said, yeah, the coolest part was, I think, seeing Jeff turn and sort of talk to everyone, all of those team members, present and past.
Yeah, amazing. You saw Budweiser uniforms. You saw Caterpillar uniforms. You saw the Andy Graves that runs the Toyota program down there. You saw so many people who have come through the Hendrick organization and have worked with him.
Yeah, we've talked all week about the respect that Jeff Gordon has got from his peers and the other drivers. It's the same way with these crew members that had the opportunity to work with this legend.
I know. I'm really glad Rutledge could share that with us, and that happened just a few moments ago down there in the garage. It is the most important one of the year, especially with, I know Jeff doesn't call them distractions, he loves his fans, but look at that swarm around him. Rick Allen, Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte have the championship 4 and more right now.
Yeah, we're going to Homestead! I'll tell you, fight!
It all will come down to this.
It is time to qualify for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Homestead Miami Speedway. We're under the lights for qualifying for the final race of the 2015 season. 4 drivers, all with an opportunity to win a championship. But where will they start for the championship race? Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, veterans, former champions, going up against 2 drivers that have never won a championship.
Well, I think teammates are the key. Jeff Gordon didn't make a qualifying run in practice, but the 88 and the 48 did. They ran all qualifying trim. Could they share information for Jeff Gordon to try to find him some speed? Same situation for the 18 of Kyle Busch. I didn't see any qualifying runs in practice. Will they be able to adapt now that the lights are turned on?
And will this be the first mind game that could be played by one of these 4 teams if you go out and, say, win the pole or qualify in front of one of the other teams?
Well, I don't know that you say mind games, because this is results.
Let's go trackside to a 4-time champion with Marty Snyder.
We will chat with Jeff Gordon, who's had a busy day today and practice earlier on, but every time I've been around you, there's been people everywhere. How much of today has been, socializing with friends and working as well?
I'm having the time of my life, so, I don't know. I've really just been enjoying every moment. Yeah, we've got some longtime friends I grew up racing with that are here that I've been hanging out with, spending some time with. It's been amazing. And our Exalted Chevrolet is really, really good, too. I know we didn't show it at practice. We took off there, and there's a bunch of traffic, so we didn't get a really good fast lap. Then we went to swap over for qualifying trim. It started raining, so don't know exactly what we've got here, but car feels solid, feels good. Our teammates give us some good information. They did make some qualifying runs, so we'll certainly find out here real quick in this first round what we do have.
I was going to ask you, how much concern is there, just 30th fastest in practice?
I'm not concerned about that. I don't pay that much attention to that. Had I had a clean lap and was 30th, then I'd have been feeling, because I know how hard these guys have been working on this car, and I know how fast it is, and I would have known it was on me, not on them. But the second run we went out, I thought we had some really good speed in the car, and I was anxious to see what we had for qualifying trim, especially with what we did last year here.
Before you climb in, such a cool moment moments ago, taking a picture with all your former crew members except one, Steve, who's in the booth and busy. But how cool was that to see all those old faces once again?
Well, Steve, he's, up there getting powder and
Big time.
Somebody's doing his hair. he didn't have time. But no, that was awesome. That was so cool for me and for Rick Hendrick to have all these crew members that are still in this garage area, and we're there in this 24 car at some point in their career. Very cool moment.
Let me show you a cool thing, too, that Jeff noticed. I'll have my cameraman Bradley back up and tilt down a little bit. Look what stall they're in. 24 for qualifying. Why not, right? The 24 car in stall 24 as he rolls off for qualifying. Dave Burns?
And almost lost on everything that took place last week. Dale Earnhardt Jr. did get his third win of 2015. Drivers climbing in their cars for qualifying next.
All I wanted to do was be a race car driver ever since I was, 6 or 7 years old. That was my dream. I'm speechless, man. I mean, this is the greatest day of my life. To have those numbers fall in line with a dream, it doesn't get any better than that. Man, this is turning into a fairy tale year. I can't believe it.
Jeff Gordon looking for a storybook ending. How will the fairy tale conclude? Jeff Gordon has 81 career poles. This will be his final qualifying session in the Sprint Cup Series. This weekend, everything will be the last. It will be his last final practice tomorrow. And of course, his last race, 797 races consecutive for Jeff Gordon. And because we go to a racetrack, all the tracks different.
21 car is going to be the road courses, the short tracks, everywhere. They're going to have to adapt to that schedule.
And now Jeff Gordon on the racetrack. Marty?
Finally rolling, and you heard him a moment ago, not too worried about the fact that they did not have qualifying trim practice. I asked Alan Gustafson, why did you guys not practice qualifying trim? He said, Jeff really likes to get into race trim right away in practice, sort of to get that rhythm. They had hoped to do it later in the practice, but that is when the rain came. You see Jeff Gordon sawing on the wheel. He asked Eddie DeHaan, his spotter, to sort of give him a play-by-play of where everybody else was running on the track, because they know they have one shot to get it right, to get in this top 24. And Jeff, that comes with a lot of pressure, doesn't it, when you haven't made a qualifying run all day long?
Yeah, it really does. And the problem is it's hard to know where your rhythm is. One of the great things about making a Q run in practice is that you know how far you can drive it in the corner. You know what it's supposed to feel like. You can see Jeff Gordon and his team are all the way down in 16th, and that is it. That's in danger of going out of the top 24. I don't think so. I think that'll make the top 24, but now he has one run in. If he does make the first round, then they can make an adjustment to the car. Now they have a run. They potentially have more room to gain and grow than some other teams do, because this was their first run.
And I'm not sure I agree with Jeff. I think 16th is, 8 cars need to beat him for him to not make the top 24. And when I look at cars that haven't run, I look at Sam Hornish Jr., Danica Patrick, Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears. I see cars that could perhaps eliminate the 24 from the top 24, Marty.
And Steve, Alan Gustafson just told him that will not make it in their estimation. He said, well, that felt really good. That worries me a little bit. When the car feels good like that, Steve, but it doesn't have the speed, that's a little concerning in qualifying trim, isn't it?
Well, one thing I hear about Homestead Miami is the multiple lines. Jeff Gordon ran a very low line on the racetrack. We saw Kevin Harvick run middle of the racetrack. We saw the 20 car run a little right on the white line. So I think you can do it in any line on the racetrack, but perhaps you just have to have a car that's set up for those positions.
So Jeff Gordon in jeopardy of not making it into the top 24 on his first run in this first round. Marty, is the team preparing?
Well, yes, they are preparing to go back out. They just asked, Jeff asked Alan Gustafson, what do I need? He said, you think you're going to need about a 10th and a half? And then Alan said, well, what can we do to help you balance-wise? He said, honestly, I don't know of anything I can tell you. He said, I probably could have get back to the gas sooner in 1 and 2. I think it felt pretty good. It was a little loose going into 1, but I expected that. I was ready for it. So he doesn't know what to do. So maybe it is a line issue when they go back out on the track, Jeff, of what they're going to have to adjust when he wants to pick up a little bit more time.
Well, I think that he'll have some data. He'll be able to, his spotter will be able to talk to him. They'll be able to look at replays really quickly, look where other people ran, compare that to the 24 where he ran, give that information to him as well.
All right, crew chief driver. He's on the bubble right now. He's on that cut line. How late do you wait? Do you wait until there's a minute to go before you send him back out?
I wait until someone bumps me or someone's on the track that can bump me. Right now, when I look.
And how long will they stay in their stall until they roll out and prepare themselves? Will they stay there until they fall down to 25th?
Well, they still have 8 minutes, so they have plenty of time to sit and wait. But if they get to 24th, they may feel compelled to go on the racetrack, to be out there, be on the racetrack in case someone does beat them. That's going to be a difficult decision for Allen.
Yeah, that would put more time on those tires, and that's something that they don't want to do so that they can stay prepared for the second round.
Hopefully what they would be able to do is watch other cars go to see if someone can go faster the second time out. I think generally in the garage, people believe your first time on the racetrack is going to be your fastest time, but you never know. You never know if Trevor Bayne, Casey Mears, Sam Hornish, if they had a bad lap and they have room to grow and get better. We're going to find out right now. This is a big car right here.
It looks like Jeff Gordon's going to have to go back out on the racetrack. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 15th quickest on his lap. Gordon outside the cut line. Now Paul Menard sits 24th. And it's a waiting game for Jeff Gordon. Cool the car as much as you possibly can. Cool the tires off as much as you possibly can. And you're definitely going to have to push the car as hard as you can if he wants to make it into the top 24.
It's going to be difficult to do, but I still say because they did not make a mock qualifying run in practice, I think they have a lot to learn. I think that, now they can talk about his line. He can think about his line. That's what happens when you go make a qualifying run in practice is you go do something, then you go back and you think about it. What could I have done different? Well, how can I make this car go faster? Could I change my line? Where did the car need to be better? All those conversations can be had after you make your first run. This was their first run. So of the cars that have gone, I think potentially, even though we know the tires aren't going to be as good, they potentially can find a little bit of speed.
It is such a tall task, though. We saw in practice from run 1 on stickers to run 2 on scuffs, 0.3 of a second. I'm not sure anybody is able to go faster, but if anybody can, we talk about the big stage. Jeff Gordon, he's done it his entire career. Well, it started quickly this weekend in Miami here in qualifying. I know this team wanted to be in the top 24. This is going to be a big second effort by this 24 car.
The track was quiet. Now Brett Moffitt will be the first car to go out and try to find some extra speed for a second attempt at a qualifying run. With more on the 24, though, let's go to Marty.
Well, Rick, Jeff mentioned a moment ago they were going to watch some video. They sent that video to Jeff Gordon in the car. He had his monitor right in front of him. And it's dartfish video. Steve, you can explain what that is in just a moment. A very helpful tool for these race teams. After he watched the dartfish video, he said, I can see we're going into one. I was too aggressive. So that's what you're talking about, Jeff. But talk about this dartfish, Steve, and how useful of a tool it is for these teams.
Deep, but when you drive it in the corner too deep, it hurts you. You're better off lifting a little bit early and then trying to go to the throttle quicker.
How much time do we need? I need to get going. 46 seconds at the yellow line all the way around to the flag. 46.
And that's Jeff Gordon asking his spotter, Eddie DeHunt, what time do I left to leave the end of pit road with 46 seconds left? The issue is, though, you got to have a clear hole. Traffic will do the 24 no good, so he needs to be patient, but also have enough urgency to get out there before the track gets very busy.
Off of 4 right now if you want to roll.
You heard the spotter say there's a good hole off of 4. Jeff Gordon's going to elect to take it. I think this is the right thing to do. I think the first clean hole you get, you go ahead and you run. You never know how many cars go to the racetrack. If you know you have a clean run right now, go take advantage of it.
Jeff Gordon needs a little more than 2/100ths of a second of an improvement. The 3 Championship 4 competitors that are ahead of him. Kevin Harvick, he's fastest. Ryan Truex Jr., 10th quickest. Kyle Busch, 14th quickest. Jeff Gordon, the only one of the Championship 4 not in the top 24 yet. And coming to get the green flag.
See that really high 3 and 4 to carry all the momentum possible to the green flag. And it's helped. Look, he's already a 10th ahead of the cut line.
And he stayed with it. Look at him go. 0.2 of a second already. To the good as he goes down the backstretch. Back into the gas early through 3 and 4. And Jeff Gordon moves moves into the top 24 with that run. 17th quickest for Gordon.
Good job, Russ. Slow it down, but you can.
What a huge pickup for this 24 car. It looked just like you mentioned, Jeff, that perhaps he just learned enough from the first run. We talk about not making that run in practice. That was a major pickup for this 24 team.
That's a great job by Jeff, by the team, by everybody, taking all the information available to you, learning from it and applying it and going out and executing. And what's the difficulty in that is now that they've moved themselves into the top 24. That's great news. Bad news is you have an extra lap on your tires compared to everybody else that most likely is going to be in the top 24. So you are immediately disadvantaged going into the next round.
Jeff Gordon, the only driver with more than one lap in the top 24. Ty Dillon is on the bubble. Paul Menard went back out and is running in the green as we have just 8 seconds to go. Paul Menard and Jeff Gordon both are able to run their way up into the top 24. They will be running in round 2. We'll hear from some of the drivers when we come back. And already a lot of drama with Jeff Gordon. Barely gets into the second round. He had to go out a second time to be able to make it into the top 24. First impressions of these four.
Jeff Gordon and his team did not show the speed, but did a great job of learning where they needed to be better and then applying and moving themselves in the top 24. I do believe, though, they are disadvantaged now because they have an extra run on their tires compared to most everyone else.
Jeff Gordon didn't wake up a champion. It took him a while. While he was achieving that, though, you had to be watching him as a young race fan. Can you give us a memory about Jeff?
I was. My dad actually sent me some pictures of go-kart bodies he found at our old race shop the other day with the number 24 on it. That was my first number because of Jeff. And I just remember going to Bristol all the time as a 5-year-old kid, watching him win races and run really, really well. And I was a big fan of his and Ray Evernham and all those guys. So I had a ton of memories just walking up to him in the pits there at Bristol, sneaking in so I could get a picture with him.
Yeah, that's right. That is a memory. He didn't get caught that day, and he's not in trouble now, but he has a great memory of Jeff.
Trevor Bayne, 24-year-old now. Take a look at that. His hero growing up. He'll be racing against his hero on Sunday for the final time. Round 2 coming up next.
Well, we saw the heroic efforts from Jeff Gordon finding that speed on the old tires in round 1. Now it's going to be Kevin Harvick's turn. You talk about 1/100th of a second better than Almirola. That might be enough.
Jeff Gordon just rolling off of pit road now, or at least out of his stall. He had this to say on the radio just moments ago about his competition.
Logano had his whole car above the second seam at 3 and 4 that time. He's P1. What are you talking about, the bottom seam or the top seam? Top seam. He had the left sides above the top seam. 1 and 2, he had his rights just above the second seam.
This racetrack has so many different options for the drivers. There's just so many different places to go, and it is invaluable for the spotter to give that information. He was talking about the seams on the racetrack. Really the only visual mark that a driver can use through the corner.
And there's 2 seams. He had to get clarification. There's really 2 seams. That's when we talk about the 3 lines here at Homestead, Miami. There's the bottom, which is kind of all the way from the apron up to the first seam. The middle line, which is when you walk in between the 2 seams, but then the top. As we see Jeff Gordon go down here into 3 and 4, I expect him to run really high. There he is. You see his left side tires right on that black line. That's the second seam. That's the top of the racetrack.
And I think this is a big test right now. This is going to be a good indication of what people can run their third time out. And that's what people are going to have to do to knock Harvick out. So we're going to know right now if he can beat him, but also if other people can beat Harvick.
I mean, if Jeff Gordon somehow can eliminate Kevin Harvick on his 3rd run, it would be a huge victory for this 24 car, and he's doing it. He's tracking in the green after 1 and 2.
This is when it gets harder, though. 3 and 4, as your tires get older and get hotter, that's when it becomes harder.
He barely got out of the gas at all in 1 and 2. Now through 3 and 4, still in the green. Can Gordon do it?
This is how you've won 93 races on the big stage. Do it when it matters. 3rd run on tires, P6.
6th quickest for Jeff Gordon. That moves Kevin Harvick outside the top 12.
Way better.
It also moves Truex to 11th, so he's only 2 spots from being knocked out. But I think that's a good sign for Harvick. I think if Gordon could go out and run that quick, his 3rd time out, I think that means Harvick can as well.
But I think the pressure's on the 4. If the 4 doesn't go out and run faster, what a disappointing qualifying effort. Jeff Gordon runs 3 times, and on his 3rd time eliminates you from the top 12. Favorite, but he doesn't get a very good run. An average lap time, Jeff Gordon goes out his 3rd run on tires, Rick. He bumps the 4 from the top 12.
To me, advantage Jeff Gordon. Not getting a Q run in practice. First run, slow, not nearly good enough. Next run, better. Next run, better yet. I think emotionally, advantage goes to the 24 car.
I take the advantage all the way to Kyle Busch because I think Jeff Gordon, while a tremendous job to continue to advance on those old tires, I think the song's coming to an end. He's going to end up the back half of the top 12. That extra run is going to catch up with him.
It's the final qualifying round of 2015. 3 chase drivers still involved. Can Gordon win his 82nd pole? The Cinderella story. Now Gordon has the most laps on his tires because it took him 2 attempts to get through round 3 into round 2.
I would love to tell you that matters, but he continues to prove us wrong. With the most laps on his tires, he didn't just sneak into round 3. He qualified 6 quick in round 2.
Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards still to go. Gordon making his way out. This will be his final run, his final qualifying effort in the Sprint Cup Series.
Go get him.
Once again, Eddie DeHaan, go get him.
Very high line coming to get the green flag again. That's just to keep the RPMs up on the engine, keep the car freed up, carry as much speed as possible, get to the start-finish line. Did a good job.
Denny Hamlin in the green, Gordon in the red. Hamlin with a good run. Jeff Gordon, 1/10 of a second off. Where will Gordon start in his final race? Denny Hamlin fastest. Now Jeff Gordon 2/10 of a second off. Where will he be slotted? Jeff Gordon 5th quickest. Kyle Busch is 3rd quickest. Martin Truex Jr. 10th quickest. Carl Edwards 2/10 of a second off. And Carl Edwards 7th quickest. Denny Hamlin steals the pole away.
What a run for Jeff Gordon, though, to start off the way it did. No way could you have convinced me he would have ended up in the top 5. That, even though he got beat by a competitor in Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon and the 24 team have to feel great about this qualifying effort.
Oh, I think so for sure. I mean, they haven't been able to match the speed of all these other teams on the mile-and-a-half racetracks. They come out the first day of this championship weekend and get 5th, which is only 2 spots behind Kyle Busch and ahead of the other 2 competitors. I think they leave here feeling great about that.
Dave, I think everybody up and down pit road is wondering how Jeff Gordon pulled that off to get into the top 5 after having an extra run than everybody else did, Jeff. How did you do it?
It wasn't easy. Man, that was a heck of an effort by this race team. We've got a great race car. I was totally messed up. You know, that first run, without making a qualifying run in practice, I just didn't know how hard I could push it, how much the track had picked up, and it cost me that first run because I felt like I drove in deep and got back in the gas early, but I didn't push it near hard enough to make it through. And I hate we had to put that extra lap on the tires because I really believe we might have had a shot at this thing. I don't know if I could have run what Joey ran there, but or the 11, but man, top 5, are you kidding me? That's awesome. I'm really proud of that.
But in retrospect, the extra run in round 1 might have been the biggest of the day. Did you think you could pick up a 1/10 and a half after you just run moments ago?
You know, I wasn't sure. I mean, I was, you know, looking at everything and trying to figure out where I lost time. I felt like the balance of the car was good. I felt like the grip was good. I just obviously felt like, you know, I didn't, you know, push it hard enough and wasn't aggressive enough with it. So I said, well, I'm not going to leave anything on the table this time. And, you know, then we made that run, and the car was a little bit tight, but I was more aggressive, and I got through 1 and 2 good, and that's what kind of saved the lap or saved us to get to round 2. And then from that point on, I was just like, oh, man, how are we going to, you know, keep advancing because I felt like I already had too much on the tires at that point. This place fall off is huge, but we got a very strong race car with this Exalta Chevrolet, obviously, because to be able to do that the next couple runs, pretty proud of those laps. I had to make up to this team what I did on the first run, so glad I was able to make it up. That's pretty awesome to get top 5. I'm really happy and proud of that.
In a weekend of final things, that'll be your final qualifying effort. That's a pretty good note to go out on, isn't it, after all the effort the team put in and you put in?
Well, again, you're always looking for just confidence and momentum and things, and the way our practice went earlier today when the rain hit, and then that first lap on the track here in qualifying wasn't looking good. But, that's what this team's done all year long is find a way to claw and scrape and get ourselves back into it. And that those next 3 runs were huge. So, that's what you got to do if you're going to win this thing.
As he told me many times in the last few weeks, we're a scrappy team, and I like that. Jeff Gordon and his team scrapped their way to a top 5 qualifying effort, Rick.
He did, Marty, and smiles by Jeff Gordon. And how about that? The fist pump. We did it. A top 5 finish for Jeff Gordon.